Hi guys, so earlier I did a haul video, I guess it depends on when you're watching this, maybe that doesn't make sense, but I had mentioned that I was going to make some slimline envelopes from scratch basically. I don't know if I said from scratch, but that's what my plan was. So that's what I'll be doing right now. I know just coming into today, Little Darling Rubber Stamp, LDRS, has a cute set to make slimline envelopes, and that's what we're going to work on, slimline size. On HSN, they were hard to find, but I have a link in the description box. So any links I have are affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links. Really sweet set. I'm picking the set up. I just want to show you guys how to do this. But you can also use something like that, right? So people are coming up with different things. I have had requests to make envelopes, and I figured a slimline envelope would be probably more beneficial right now because that is something that is not that it's not easy to find. Obviously, these are the envelopes I normally send out slimlines in, just like your normal business size envelope, which is a number 10. And they are 4 1/8 by 9 1/2 inches, okay? So our envelope is not going to be 4 1/2 or 4 1/8 by 9 1/2. It's going to be more like 4 by 9. And we're going to make them from one sheet. Each envelope is going to take only one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 paper. If you want to do some fun things or different things, then of course you can use 12 by 12 paper or the biggest paper you have. I know I have some old Cricut paper that's like 12 by 24, which I've never even used it. I got it whenever the Cricut had put out that big cutting mat, and I was like, oh yeah, we need that, and then I never used it. So I have a couple paper pads that are really big, but this is what's funny. These are my little notes. So I was just sitting at the couch yesterday. I'm like, okay, I can do this, and yeah, I know you can't read that, but okay, 1/2 by 11. Well, what if it's oriented this way? Okay, so we have our envelope, and then I decided to not. I made each little graph equal an inch, and then I decided not to do the whole 4 inches down here. So I have some notes for myself. It's really easy. At least what I'm hoping it'll be really easy. I'm going to do 2 different ones just so you can see a regular envelope that opens just like these guys. And then one that opens from the top or the side. You know what I'm saying? Like more like a manila envelope, but it's a skinny envelope like this. So hopefully that'll be fun for you guys. And like I said, I'll have the link for the new LDRS ones. I think they're super cute. That has like the way that one's created, it seems like 2 pieces plus a flap, and then it has like some decorative edges you can do on the envelope or so. But for now, we're just gonna make a nice envelope, hopefully. This will work out. I did get a patterned paper on purpose, and I probably shouldn't have done that because since this is the first time I'll explain it, but I think it'll be okay. So let me see here. I think this one. Let me orient myself here on my paper, and then I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save this one for the one that's gonna be with the envelope on the side, the flap, because if the pattern was this way, it would work better. Right now, this is left and right. It's not gonna be what I want. So I'm gonna use the craft cardstock, even though in my mind I had this differently, but that's okay as far as the colors. But so we're gonna start with this, and the first thing I'm gonna do, and this is how I made it easy in my head, but do whatever you like. I'm trying to use just a normal scoring board because that way most people have some kind of scoring board, right? So on the 11-inch side, we're just gonna score in 1 inch, and this is gonna be super basic. So depending on what you want to do, you can dress this up. So this is just a basic idea that I came up here. So 1 inch on either side, right? I'm gonna do a little bit more because this craft cardstock's really thick and very dry feeling, which hopefully that won't be problematic. Okay, and then on the other side, we're gonna turn it this way, and we're gonna score up at 3 inches. So I'm saying this is super easy. The other one can be made the same, but we're gonna change the measurements a little bit so it's more even. This one's going to be smaller, and then the envelope, lid or top comes over. So hopefully that makes sense. So 3 inches on this side, and on the other side, I'm going to turn it 1 1/2 inches. Okay. Now we can start folding this, but it depends on what you want to do. But what I really would like to do is cut this piece out right here. So I think I'm going to cut it before I fold it, but you can fold it, then cut it however you want. It does not matter. And then we're going to cut this square out too. So, or rectangle, I guess. So I'm going to try to be as straight as I can right on the line, but if you want to use this, a cutting tool and just put this, in your trimmer and just line it up, and it'll be straighter, obviously. But for now, I'm just going to eyeball this. So that's how I do. I'm gonna cut this one off, and I'm gonna cut this one off. And you guys, we're almost done. Like, that's literally it. So 1 inch on either side on the 11-inch side, at 3 inches from the bottom, at 1.5 inches from the top. That's all the scoring. I'm going to cut this out and I'll be right back. So that is basically that. Now, you know, I scored on this side. Do you want to fold it up towards that side? Do you like folding it backwards? Whatever it is that you like to do, fold it that way. Okay, so for me, I'm going to fold this up because I feel like this is the right side of the craft cardstock. And just remember, you know, what you're trying to get done here. So that's that. And then we're going to fold these guys in. Super easy, you guys. And this ends up being 9 by 4. Okay, in here. The envelope itself. So hopefully you can kind of see it's 4 inches by 9. And my standard, you know, slimline, I have one here, is 8.5 by 3.5, because that's what I like to do. So this basically fits this in here really nicely, right? And even that little extra, remember how I put that little flower off on this card example? I had put that little flower just off the side, so there's plenty of room for it. It gives it a little bit of thickness, like that's a little bit thicker because it's shaker card and it's no problem. Now, we're looking at this and it's pretty plain, you know, that's what you want. You have an overhang, envelope is done, right? Basically, we're going to glue it. But I'm going to do a little bit something just to make it look a little bit nicer. I do like that this is just straight. I think what I'm going to do is corner around these edges just for funsies, but you don't have to do that. And especially if you don't have a corner rounder, there's no reason to get one. Just don't do it. But I'm going to take the 1/2 inch size. I want the fatter corner rounding. And we have to straighten this out and get that as tucked in there as you can around that corner. Same thing on this side. Where you get that tucked in there. And that's just a style preference. So you don't have to do anything like that. So that's one way to make it look nicer. And then of course I'm going to corner around these edges too, just to make the envelope look kind of cute. And that, again, that's just an idea. You don't have to. You want to corner around this too, that's fine, but I don't think it'd look cute if this was corner rounded here. I think it'd look weird with the two. Okay, so there's that cute envelope. You know, what else was I going to say? Oh, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue it because I'm pretty much done with this envelope. But what I was going to mention is I like using wet glue, so I'll do that. I'll put the glue on here, not too far in, but far enough that, you know, this is an inch flap, so let's put that down right here. And I'll hold it for a little bit. So that's your basic envelope, you guys. I mean, it works out perfectly. If you want to do the kind of thing where you have like a 1/4 inch gusset, the sizing on this envelope will still allow you to do that. It'll be a little tighter, so it's not really, again, this is an 8.5 by 11 and I maxed it out. But if you want to add a 1/4 inch gusset, 1/4 inch, you would still do the exact same thing I just showed you, just adding a 1/4 inch on the sizing, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. On either side, so you need to add 1/2 inch to your paper. We can talk about that later though. This is just a basic thing. Okay, the other thing is, okay, maybe you don't like having the corner rounding and that sticking out right there. What I would do is bring my scissor out and just cut this off. You know what I'm saying? Cut it from here, right angle it to there, and cut that off, and that'll be gone if that's what you want. But I like that it's all the way tucked up in there. So that is our basic envelope. I mean, that took seconds, right? Okay, the other one I did not write down because it was in my head. I was talking about it earlier in the video, the haul video, that I woke up at 4 and like all night, every time I woke up, I was thinking about, oh, maybe I should orient the envelope a different way so that people would like to see maybe that. So let me write down my little notes about how I wanted to do that. Very technical. Again, 8.5 by 11, scored on 1 inch in on the 11 inch side, and on the other side, on the 8.5, 3 inches on one side, 1.5 inch on the other, and then just get rid of the little excess. You know, corner around if you like, or don't, however you want to do it. We can talk about putting a liner in here. That'd be really cute too. Maybe we'll do that since that was pretty quick, and this next part's gonna be pretty quick too. So I just want to remind myself what I was thinking about. And this is kind of how I'm telling you how I come up with stuff if there's something I need to actually just come up with. I'm looking for a pen. It'd be nice if I had a pen, wouldn't it? Here we go. Of course, something's going to fall in the meantime. Okay, so on this other one, I'm not going to take up all your time to talk about this, but we know this is 8.5, and we know this is 11, and I need a little smaller flap on this side that's going to close it up. You know, basically it's going to be this flap, but it's on this edge. So see how we have an inch or a half. So let's say we did 1/2 inch here. It changed to an inch by the time we're done with this. And then we need 9, so that we're to 9.5. So we have the half, 9, 9.5. And that means we have left over 1.5 inches. This would be 1.5 inches left over here. And what I like about that is that sizing sounds good to me. So this little flap that's going to come up here is only going to be 1/2 inch, and then this one's going to be 1.5 inches long that comes this way. And then just to get rid of the 8.5, we need 4 inches in the center, right? Because we want it 9 by 4, so we need 4 inches here, and that leaves us 4.5 inches. So 2 1/4 up here, and 2 1/4 up here, and those 1/4 inch pieces will flap over each other. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So let me center myself. I'm gonna get some coffee going, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got my coffee going. Sun's not even up yet, and we're doing fractions. Easy fractions, but still, nonetheless. So this card, the way I'm orienting this, I probably shouldn't have used a paper that has a pattern just to not confuse people, but if you just have a plain piece of paper, it doesn't matter. If you have a pattern, I'm going to make this envelope long, where this one is this way. I'm making this one purposefully tall, okay? That opens like a manila folder at the top, you know. So I just need to pay attention to that. It doesn't really matter, but it does in this situation because I want this to be the top and this to be the bottom. So the 1/2 inch, the little 1/2 inch flap that's going to come up needs to be on this side, okay? So you can just think about that. Maybe the first few times you make it, you might want to make it just with plain paper just so you have an idea. So I am scoring on the back because, again, I like to score my papers up towards the divot line that you make. You know what I'm saying? Like this. So if you don't care, then it doesn't really matter. But I like to do mine that way. So I'm doing my 1/2 inch. And on the other side, we need 1.5 inch. So if you think about those numbers, 1/2 inch and 1.5, that's 2 inches. It's going to leave 9 inch gap in between the two, right? So there's our 9 inch envelope. So 9. And so again, 1/2 inch and 1.5 inch. And then on the other ones, we're just doing 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 off of either side. So these are only going to overlap very little, but it should be enough to hold it together. 2 1/4. Well, no, I was going to say if you wanted, you could put more of the, they don't have to be right down the center. You can make it so that one overlaps more on the other, but you would just play with the numbers, right? Okay, so that's that, guys. I hope. Okay, so I just take a moment to really look at it and make sure everything's good. All right, so again, 2 1/4, 2 1/4 is 4.5, so it leaves a 4 inch space. So now this space in the middle is 9 by 4. Again, same thing. We're just going to remove these bottom pieces. I'll turn it this way so hopefully you can see it better. Again, remove the outer little rectangles from that one and from the top. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and I'll be right back. So just cut out those little notches. I just went to see about a video that I'm editing, and this is going by so quickly that the video is not even done editing yet. It's a very short video. I thought it would be done, but nope. This is just moving right along. Okay. Again, I like folding my envelopes, or not my envelopes, but my score lines the way I do them. That was kind of went off a little bit, and you saw that. Just fix it. And this one too. That one's a little better. And then this guy's gonna fold up. See, that's why I made it just kind of small on the bottom. Now, there's a couple things we're gonna contend with. Now, you can leave it straight. We can corner around it. I was gonna corner around it just to be cuter. The other thing is up here at the top. Now, if this is your envelope, it's gonna be very hard to see your card because this comes right to the top. So I was going to play with that a little bit, and it's up to you how you wanna do this, if you wanna do it at all. What I think I'm going to do is just bring it over to my scoreboard. And you can use probably your We Are Memory Keepers board, the explosion box one, if that's something you're interested in. But basically, I'm just going to go 1/2 inch. So I want to see where the 1/2 inch line is. It's this one. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4th line in. 1, 2, 3, 4th line in. I'm just gonna put a little dot right here at 1/2 inch, okay? Just a little something to mark it. You can mark it with a pencil. You can measure it with a ruler, I guess. I'm just doing it this way. And then 1/2 inch. Okay. And we'll see if this is enough. This part is the part I didn't really plan. So what I'm gonna do is from that little 1/2 inch mark to the very edge here, just cut that away. And I'm just eyeballing, as you can see. Okay. Again, from that little 1/2 inch mark, angle it straight to the corner piece there. That way your recipient can see the card poking out from here. Now if you want to do an inch further in, go for it, whatever you want. I just chose a number just to see how that would work. Okay, again, I like the look of the corner rounding, so I'm going to corner round these, but since this is so small down here, maybe I'll do a 1/4 inch corner round. I'll use the smaller side. Let's see what that looks like. You don't have to, if you don't have a corner rounder, don't do it, just leave it flat. Use a die. If you have a big machine that you can run this, actually your machine doesn't even have to be that big. If you can fold up your envelope and have a cute little die that you can put on the edge, like an on the edge die, run it through, now you have a cute die cut edge, you know? You don't have to do any of these things. You can just leave it the way we showed here. So hopefully this is fun for you guys. It's helpful. I think it is, because again, the business size envelope works. It's just a little bit too big for our Slimlines. They pop in there, no problem, but it'd be funner if they were a little bit more stylized, right? Instead of that little thin thing that we get from the store. Okay, again, they overlap about a 1/4 inch, and then that's it. I was planning on putting a little circle closure on this, but is that too much? Is it too extra? Let's close it up and then we'll talk about that, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, they have to do this or that. You don't have to do anything. Okay, let's put a little glue here. I'm putting it around the edge. I like wet glues. Be careful that you don't glue it shut, but other than that, you should be good. So there, and then along this flap. Now you might think, well, how do I close this envelope? I would close it with the glue, or maybe a repositionable glue, to be honest, because that way it can open easier. It depends on how you're giving it too. How are you going to send it through the mail? You might just want to put stickers to close it. I have this stuff and I see it every day all the time. It's sitting here, but of course now when I want to show it to you guys, I don't have it. But it's like a liquid that you put here. You put on here, you let it dry, and then later you just lick it and close your envelope. It was made by Green Sneakers. I don't even know if Green Sneakers is a company anymore, but they did send it for review a long time ago. On top of that, I already bought some from like QVC. But yeah, it's a little bottle and has a little green lid. Oh well. I'm sure somebody else sells something similar, possibly. But that's it, guys. That's the envelope. So this one is tall, like this, where this one is more of a landscape, right? Super easy. Again, on this one, 1/2 inch from the bottom, 1.5 inches from the other side, and then just scored at 2.25 inches on either side on the 8.5 inch way, and then that's it. However you want to do it. So let me quickly, what I'm going to do is try and make you guys what I was thinking about. I have this punch. I honestly would want this to be smaller, but I have this one, so I'm going to use this. But if they were a 1/2 inch punch, I think it would be better. This is, I think, a full inch. Pop that guy out. No, come on, buddy. So I'm gonna pop out 2 of these. I'm gonna grab a pokey tool and some brads and some twine, and I will be right back. Okay, so I grabbed these brads. They aren't micro brads, but they're not the biggest brad. They came from this pack that's super old from close to my heart, but there's micro brads, a medium-sized brad, like I said, and then the larger ones. But if you have the larger ones, go for it. If you have micro ones, go for that. It doesn't really matter. And all I'm going to do is kind of eyeball this. I suppose if you wanted to glue these down in the very center, you can do that just so that you have a better idea of where it's going to be. But I'm going to do this one here, and then I'll deal with the other one in just a second. So this is where I want this one. Now, if you want to measure it, that's up to you. I'm just eyeballing, and I'm going to poke it through. And all I'm going to do is then stick this together. Now, I'm going to add a piece of twine. Do you want to do this? Put this on here. Add the twine now. You can do that. Or you can add the twine later. But you know what? Let me grab that. Whatever. I'll use this blue one just because it's here. And it's kind of thin. I do like this twine. This is a thing from the Dollar Tree. I honestly don't know. Maybe I got it from something else. But the Dollar Tree one's kind of thin, so that's kind of nice for this project. Of course, I didn't pull this out correctly, so it's going to be... There we go, one more. And, you know, as little or as much as you want. A good amount. Maybe a foot of it, but whatever you have, you're going to be winding and winding and winding, so you don't want to do too much. Now, what I was trying to say is that you can go ahead and make your little knot. I'll probably do it out here. Or you can pin that down first and then add your knot. You know, add the twine in behind it, however you want to do it. But make sure it's a knot or else it's going to fall apart. And kind of small. I'm doing it like this, and it's messy, but that's okay. I'll clean that up in just a minute. And I'm going to put this on the little loop, okay, guys? You can tie it right on there if you wanted. I just was being lazy about it. I'll clean this up. Actually, I'll clean it up now because it'll be harder to clean up later. So I'm going to take those little pieces off and go ahead and put that through. You absolutely do not have to do this, but it's just a little extra. Look at that, so cute. I even have the kind that make the hole if you want to look more like an actual clasp, like the ones that look like this. So you can use a different punch. You know what I'm saying, an eyelet setter. And this one I'm just going to line up. Again, if you want to put a little dab of glue to help you out, go for it. I'm just going to do that. And then I need something in here that's going to help me poke through and not poke through completely. So I think that is going to be... I have a thin cutting mat, but I don't want to... Alright, how about this? My metal ruler. Just to get myself some room to put that in there. There we go. Just a little piece of metal ruler there. And again, try to get that in the center. So this one's a little bit different. It's going to take a little more time and also a little more care when you go to put your card in here. I would put like a flat carrier sheet, like just a piece of paper that's cut down just to protect your card because you have brads, you know, hanging out here. And just open that up. And now you have a little closure. Again, you do not have to do this, but I thought it was cute. And also I would use 1/2 inch circles, but like I said, I had the big inch punch, so that's what I used. And that's it, and that's closed up. So I hope you guys liked the tutorial. So again, this one's meant to be up this way. This one is this way. And I did cut a carrier, just a piece of paper just to go in here. This is 8.5 inches wide just because this comes from a standard A2 size paper, and that works out because it mats in 1/4 inch on either side in here. And then I scored it at 1 1/4 inches because this flap is 1 1/2 inches. So 1 1/4, I'm going to round it with the same size corner rounder I did before, but if you don't corner round, then just leave it straight, that's fine too. I'm gonna go ahead and score it on that line. And when I do a liner like this, oh, I'm sorry, it's also 3 1/2 inches. So 3 1/2, 8.5 by 3 1/2. Scored at 1 1/4. That's it. I don't really glue this down because I don't want it to do that weird thing about the two pieces coming together at that joint and then they don't really do their thing. What I normally do for something like this is I only glue the one side. Either glue the bottom, well, not either. You need to glue the top, or else it's going to look like this. But what I'm saying is just glue around here. And don't glue that bottom part, okay? And that's it, because it'll give it some flexion and it won't mess with the envelope actually opening all the way up because it has movement down here. It's not glued, it's only glued in this top flap. Alright guys, I hope that was fun and helpful, and maybe it should have been my Freeform Friday, but I was like, I need to get this out into the world. So a lot of times when I have an idea, not that I invented envelopes, that's not what I mean, but like I want to get this out there, you know, so I had numbers in my head and I wanted to get them done. Super easy, you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'll maybe put this on my blog just because I know there's numbers, but the numbers are super easy, you guys. I mean, you saw that. Anyway, if I have it on my blog, I will have a link to it, but for now, it's not going to be there, I don't think. So I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.